Anybody not ready? All right, so I'm going to run through this really from the top. I went through it earlier at the press conference we had early this morning, but I'll just run through everything that we know happened again, and then fill in some of the things we've learned since the press conference early this morning. So Deputy Michael Hartwick is a 19-year veteran of the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, assigned to our North District station as a patrol deputy. 51 years old, was assigned to work a traffic detail on I-275, and it's to provide site safety and security for the construction that's ongoing on I-275. He arrived out there last night at his assigned spot at about 10:40 or so last night, 10:40, 10:41 he arrived. We know from video of the dash camera in Deputy Hartwick's car that within about a minute or so after arriving, he got out of the car, walked in front, and walked over to the shoulder of the road. So he's southbound, just north of the Roosevelt Boulevard exit, and gets out of his car and is over on the shoulder of the road. He was blocking the two lanes. There's 4 lanes out there. He was blocking the 2 lanes that were closest to the shoulder of the road with his cruiser. There were 2 other deputies out there, one 1,500 feet in front of Deputy Hartwick, and another one 1,500 feet in front of him. Deputy Hartwick gets out of the car, and what we can see on the video is that one of the construction trucks passes southbound, and a short period of time after that, there was a front loader, and a big construction front loader. So these are these big, huge construction vehicles with big forklift type arms that are in front, and they're used to lift these probably 1,000-pound plus concrete barriers off of flatbed trucks to create the lanes out there as they move things around for construction. So this front loader is traveling northbound, probably at about 20 miles an hour. We see the front loader pass by the front of Deputy Hartwick's car, and there was a white pickup truck that was behind it that was escorting it. What you see is you see the white pickup truck abruptly brake and stop. Now, he wasn't supposed to stop because he's supposed to be escorting the front loader, but he stopped because he saw as the front loader continued northbound, as the front loader had hit and struck and killed Deputy Hartwick. So the operator of the front loader kept going. He got on a phone call, called another construction worker, was crying on the phone, not making sense. He got a short distance to the north, pulled off on the front loader, and there was another construction worker there. He told that other construction worker that he had just killed the deputy and took off his hat and took off his vest, his traffic vest, handed it to him, told him to hide it and get rid of it, and he fled northbound on foot. So when we got out there last night and pieced all this together, and we began looking for the suspect in this, and this resulted in, and I would call it really a 9-hour manhunt that was here in Pinellas County, over in Tampa, and involved virtually every single one of our canines, 3 helicopters, and hundreds of law enforcement officers trying to find this guy. We received, as a result, and thank you all for it, thank the public for it, we received a lot of information from the press conference this morning. We received tips. We were following up on those. And even though our canine dogs had been out there and had been searching the area extensively and the helicopter had been up, is we asked for help from the Pasco County Sheriff's Office because they have bloodhounds. Normal canine scent is only going to last probably about 45 minutes to an hour for tracking purposes. But with a bloodhound is that you give them a scent and then they seek out that scent. And because he had taken off his vest and his helmet, one of our canines had found those. The other guy had dumped them in the woods. So we were able to have those. The bloodhound came out, and the bloodhound was able to get that scent and then track to where this person was. So that's what happened. He was taken into custody. And so now we fill in some names and a little bit more about this. What I told you all this morning was the person that we were looking for, and I identified him as Victor Vasquez. And I just told you that he was I believe I told you he was about 35 years old and that he was from Puerto Rico. Well, as it turns out, that's all a bunch of nonsense. And that his real name is Juan Ariel, A-R-I-E-L, Molina, M-O-L-I-N-A, hyphen Sales, S-A-L-L-E-S. His date of birth is May 6, 1990. So as we find out that this guy entered the country illegally on October 25th of 2021 in Eagle Pass, Texas. He was turned around by the Border Patrol and sent back to Mexico. There is no record of him ever legally coming back into the United States, and he is here illegally. He admitted to us that he has been here in the U.S. He came back in through the Texas border. He is here illegally, and he's been here in the Tampa Bay area since about March of this year. The guy that he gave his hard hat and his vest to, he originally tells us that his name is Glidden Soto, and he gave a date of birth of June 27th, 1986. Well, it turns out that that's all a bunch of nonsense too, and that his real name is Eliezer, E-L-I-E-S-E-R, A-U-R-E-L-I-O. Last name is Gomez hyphen Zelaya, Z-E-L-A-Y-A, and his real date of birth is 5/8 of 91, and he too is here illegally, and he's from Honduras. So this guy, Eliezer, we've charged him with a felony of accessory after the fact. We've charged Molina Salas with leaving the scene of an accident involving death. It's a first-degree felony with a 4-year minimum mandatory in state prison. So what we find also is that there were a lot of construction workers out there last night, a lot of people out there. The majority of them were lying to us. The majority of them were giving us false names. They were hindering the investigation, not giving us answers to the questions that we needed. And importantly, they're all giving us fake names, like these guys were giving us fake names. All of these people are working for Archer Western, which is a contractor apparently doing work for the Florida Department of Transportation out of Tampa. And this company's employing all of these illegals, and they're all out there lying, giving us fake names, fake IDs, a lot of fake IDs out of North Carolina, and it really frustrated this investigation. And this guy that we have in custody, again, he is here illegally, and he fled, as he said, because he became afraid after he killed the deputy. But he clearly knew he killed the deputy, because when he was hunkered down out there last night, he had his cell phone on. We had some ways of tracking what he was doing with his cell phone. And he was calling people over in Tampa, and he actually called his roommate, who's another guy that's here illegally. He came over and tried to pick him up. And he actually saw all of the law enforcement activity, called him back and said, "I'm not getting involved in this," and he turned around and went back to Tampa. So we were interviewing people in Tampa, chasing this thing around all day. But the essence of it is what I told you. Deputy Hartwick gets hit. Molina Salas flees, hides from law enforcement, and you got a bunch of illegals working for this state contractor out there who shouldn't be here, and they shouldn't be working, and they shouldn't be out there doing this. And this guy was going, I think, too fast for this thing. And again, he knew he hit a deputy, and as opposed to stopping, rendering aid, accepting responsibility for what he did, is that we had to chase him around and sift through all this nonsense with all these people lying, providing fake IDs, and we spent about 9 hours out there chasing this thing down. But very thankfully, all the members of the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office and other law enforcement agencies in Pinellas County that participated in this. I was over in Tampa for a while this morning with the Tampa Police Department, and thank Chief O'Connor and Chief Holloway from St. Pete and all the other agencies that helped us. But we got this guy. He is in custody. He'll be booked into the county jail later today. We put something out on this earlier, but at 3:30 this afternoon, Deputy Hartwick will be moved from the medical examiner's office next door to the Doby's Funeral Home in Tarpon Springs, and there'll be a procession that goes here on Ulmerton Road to the east, north on 19 to Tarpon Avenue. So anybody that wants to pay their respects to Deputy Hartwick as he is escorted from the medical examiner's office to the funeral home, I think it'll be much appreciated by all members of law enforcement. Mike Hartwick was a cop out there doing his job. He dedicated his 19 years of service to protecting the people in Pinellas County, and he shouldn't have died this way. Questions?
Sure. Very sorry. Will there be any sanctions against this construction company, or what will you do now with all of these workers who have given false identification?
Well, local law enforcement has no jurisdiction to enforce immigration law. You could take 5 people and bring them in the back door right now, and they could sit here and tell all of us and tell me in front of all of you that they're here illegally and there's nothing I can do about it. Local law enforcement has no authority to enforce immigration law, has no jurisdiction. I can't put them in jail. I can't do anything with them at all. The most I can do is what you can do is pick up the phone and call ICE and say you got a guy that's here illegally. And that's the most I can do about it. So as far as this company and hiring illegals, we'll certainly make ICE aware of it. And it's up to them to act and do something about it. I'm sure that the state is aware of this. I made a phone call to let people know what happened with this contractor, and what the state does with it. I don't have any control over that, but this is wrong.
Does it change anything in the charging process that these 2 men are not?
So we already received a detainer on him from federal immigration, and all that means is that at some point in time, if he's ever released, we would not release him because they put a detainer on him, and then they would come pick him up. Now, what happens from there, I can't tell you, and I don't know. So he's going to sit on these charges, and we'll see. He's still here in the building now. He's not been booked into the jail yet. We'll see what kind of bond he gets and see what a judge does as far as a bond is concerned. But if he were to try and bond on the state charges, the immigration detainer would kick in. If he doesn't bond, he'll sit. It'll go through the process in state court. Should be, assuming he's convicted. Like I said, it's a first-degree felony. The maximum statutory penalty is 30 years in state prison, but it carries a 4-year minimum mandatory. So after that period of time, that detainer goes with him to the state prison system, and then ICE would pick him up when he gets released from the state prison system. But as it shows here, this doesn't work, is that he was already deported once and came back, just like so many of these people do. So.
Sheriff, this has to make you so angry, knowing that he should not only shouldn't have been in the country, but he shouldn't have been behind the wheel of that,
right.
That machine.
He doesn't have a driver's license. He's got nothing. He shouldn't have been here to begin with, and he certainly shouldn't have been driving, and he shouldn't have been working. He's got, which makes you wonder, again, with all of this, and he has no qualifications to drive a front loader. And, what he said is that what he told those people is that back in Honduras, he worked some construction, and he knows how to operate this thing. So they said, go ahead. I mean, is that really what these contractors are doing? Is that how they're doing business? And they're just taking all these people who don't have a driver's license. And in fact, what he gave the employer, this fake ID that he gave them, wasn't even a driver's license. It's a fake ID card, supposedly from the state of North Carolina, but it's all bogus. And then they accept that and they let this guy get behind the wheel? Really?
Just to confirm, is he from Honduras but came here through Mexico?
Correct. Just like they all do. They come up through the border. They come up through that pipeline through Central America. And he's from Honduras. And just about all these people are from Honduras. And they came up through the Mexican border. And then they came here to Florida.
Is Archer a local?
It's in Tampa. The address, I don't have the address in front of me. It's Archer Western in Tampa.
Sheriff, can you tell us a little bit about Deputy Hartwick?
Yeah, like you said, Mike is one of those guys, been here for 19 years, career patrol guy. People take different paths throughout their careers. Mike was in patrol. Good guy, hard worker, did his job. He's got 2 sons, 24 and 26 years old. His mom's still around. He, is somebody that I would describe it as just a cop doing his job. The guy came to work every day, did what we asked him to do, and he worked the night shift by choice. And pretty much for most of his career, I think he was on nights. I know him, I've talked to him many times, had meetings, conversations with him. It's just sad. It really is. And, it just leaves a knot in my gut. I mean, I look at this as, really, this is 2 times in 18 months now. We go 109 years without a line of duty death, and now you get 2 in 19 months. But that's what, it's the nature of the business. It happens. But I can tell you I'm very proud of all the work that the members of the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office did last night and today. They're all professionals. They worked hard to make sure that we properly investigated this and got the bad guy in custody, 2 of them, where they belong. And that's out of respect for Mike, to make sure that when this happened that we conducted ourselves professionally and took the appropriate action. But, again, Mike's one of those guys that did his job and was out doing his job out there last night. And, we thank him for his service, and now it's time for us to offer our respects to him and offer our thanks to him as we plow through the next few days into next week and have a funeral service and go through that process.
We were just here a few days ago talking about mental health and, making sure that our deputies are feeling good mentally. What kind of a toll does this take, now that you've had 2 of your deputies lost?
Well, it's a toll. There's no question about it. I mean, it's hard. It's not good. But we're professionals. We'll do our job and we'll get through it. And everybody here who has worked this thing last night and today, and as we now plan for a funeral and services for Mike, and we'll get the job done the way it needs to get done.
A lot of times these jobs that he was on last night, is that part of their shift, or is it special duty, or?
This is what you would call special duty. It's all, it's all on duty. I mean, it's paid through the sheriff's office. He's on duty, driving a marked car, logged onto the system, wearing a uniform. It really doesn't matter. That's not a distinction. He was a cop out there doing his job, providing, and sometimes even on those things, sometimes, that line gets blurred, whether we use on-duty people or people are coming in and working details, but that's really not a distinction at all.
What's your message to his family and, coworkers who are very close to him?
We're here for you. We got to all here. We got to all be here for each other. And that, as I went up and talked to his family this morning, late this morning, early this afternoon, we're all family, and we're going to be here and help you get through it. Be here for you today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, and we'll never forget Mike, and never forget his service, and there's no words. There's no words. So we just need to be there for them and help them through this.
Sir, I'd be willing to bet that Archer isn't the only company that hires without doing background checks. What would you want the other companies that are doing the same type of practice to know?
Look what happens when you do that. People say that this is victimless. It's not victimless. We got a dead deputy. The guy shouldn't be here. He shouldn't have been driving that thing. Shouldn't have fled. Shouldn't have done any of this. And companies that are out there doing that, why are they doing it? Of course, that's a rhetorical question, and I'll answer it. Is they're doing it because they're making money off it. So are they making money now off of, you got a dead deputy? Is it worth it, really?
Sure, the other workers that were giving you a hard time, not giving you correct information, can they be charged with anything? Or will ICE go after them now, or what?
Will ICE go after them? Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. I don't think they do that anymore. We could charge them with stuff, but it's misdemeanor obstructing. It's not worth it.
Sure. What part of Tampa Bay does the deputy live in?
North Pinellas, Safety Harbor area. All right, thanks, everybody.